It saddens me that we all fall prey to sensational WhatsApp forwards, and the fact that people I love and respect send this and may take offense at my fact-checking the claims worsens the feeling. This evening I saw a message in two of the WhatsApp groups that I'm a member of. The message reads, "From CMC Velo Doctors Group, the virus is back, this time with more energy, tactics and camouflage. We don't cough, no fever, it's joint pain, weakness, loss of appetite and COVID pneumonia. Of course, the death rate is higher, it takes less time to get to the extreme, sometimes no symptoms. Let's be careful. The strain is not domiciled in our nasopharyngeal region. It directly affects the lungs, which means window periods are shortened. I have seen a number of patients without fever, but an X-ray report shows moderate chest pneumonia. The nasal swab is often negative for COVID. There are more and more false pharyngeal nasal tests, COVID, which means that the virus spreads directly to the lungs, causing acute respiratory distress due to viral pneumonia. This explains why it has become acute and more fatal. Be careful, avoid crowded places, wear a face mask, wash our hands often. Wave more deadly than the first. So we have to be very careful and take every precaution. Please become an alert communicator among friends and family. Do not keep this information to yourself. Share it with your family and friends. Please take care and stay safe." Well, I'm going to ignore the language in the message and look at the content. I'll tell you what I agree with. We must continue to take precautions, wear masks, avoid crowded places, wash hands, etc. This point is not even debatable. 10 on 10 for that. But that's where the useful information in the message ends. Let us even keep aside the fact that we have no way of verifying if this message did indeed come from the CMC Velo Doctors Group. I hope it didn't. At best, this message looks like a word salad of terms like domiciled and nasopharyngeal and respiratory distress. Second, the virus is not back. The virus has been here for over a year. Of course, it's undergone mutations, but viruses undergoing mutations should never come as a surprise. It happens all the time, which is why we have so many strains or mutations or variants of, say, the influenza virus. The part about joint pains and pneumonia in this case will not surprise a good doctor because he or she understands the concept of inflammation. Also, inflammation has been common in case of COVID. Pneumonia is just another kind of inflammation of, or it's the inflammation of the cells in the airway in our body. Weakness, loss of appetite, fatigue, cough, fever, all of these are very, very common symptoms of COVID. No cough, no fever is no surprise either. I mean, even though it's one of the most common symptoms, the way the disease has been in our subcontinent, in the Indian subcontinent, more so in the southern region, is basically asymptomatic. I'd written about asymptomatic transmissions in a post on my blog. This is nothing new. The majority of cases in India being asymptomatic is an established fact. And then it says, of course, the death rate is higher. I found it funny that the message states something fundamentally incorrect as though it were something obvious. No, the death rate is not higher. When the number of active cases was at its peak in India, the mortality rate was at about 1.165%. As of April the 6th of 2021, the mortality rate is about 0.54%. Of course, that's a simplistic calculation, but I challenge the claim that mortality rate has become higher now. The fact is, mortality rate, no matter how you calculate it, is lower now because the doctors now have a better idea of how to deal with the disease. We're not fumbling around with trials and errors anymore. Medical professionals have written books about how to deal with the disease. We have scientific papers about the different aspects of the disease. And in general, we have a much better understanding of the virus and the sort of... we even sort of have a standard operating procedure now. I mean, this symptom, these medicines, this symptom, these medicines, so on. Yeah, of course, a handful of the variants may be more infectious, but a blanket statement like, something that says the virus has become deadlier is outright wrong. In fact, the opposite is true. Higher infectivity has actually shown lower fatality, at least in India. And then it says, nasal swab is often negative for COVID. Ironically, the supposed doctor who threw around terms like domicile, I mean, who even talks like that? And nasopharyngeal region and things is now throwing accuracy out of the window, because there are, two of the most common tests for COVID use a nasal swab sample. The rapid antigen test, or the commonly known as rapid test or RAT test, and the reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction test, which is the RT-PCR test. Which exactly of these is the doctor talking about? Because both of them use nasal swabs, and the fact is, the rapid antigen test showing false negative results is common knowledge. The Indian Union Health Ministry even put out a statement that the symptomatic patients testing negative using the rapid antigen test must get retested with RT-PCR, because rapid antigen test is known to show false negatives. We've all known this for over 6 months now. And no, the COVID negative nasal swab does not necessarily mean that the virus directly spread to the lungs. I mean, how do you even come to such a conclusion? This person does not understand how the COVID infection works. In short, the mucous membrane in the part of the throat right behind your nose, which is basically the nasopharyngeal region, is where the virus can latch onto with ease. And this has been one of the most common phenomena in case of COVID-19. Why? Because this region is rich in protein receptors that the virus's surface protein, also known as the spikes, can lock into. The virus enters a healthy cell from here and uses the cell's machinery to replicate. This way, the infection continues. But the incubation period, which is what I suppose window period means in this message, is not related to the time the virus may take to travel to the lungs. It's not like it's crawling very, very slowly and it's getting to the lungs and suddenly the body's identifying it and reacting to it and, all of that. It doesn't work like that, okay? Incubation period is the time between the infection and when the symptoms start to show up. Now, if you would like to know more about this, you can go to blog.ramayer.me and read my post called COVID and Credibility, and the section called General Behavior of a Virus to know more about this. We've also known for a long time that the virus does not infect the respiratory system alone. In fact, gastrointestinal symptoms are very, very common in COVID-19. And fun fact, none of this is new. Remember that in general, the chances of your immune system responding to the infection killing you is much higher than the virus killing you. That said, do take all the necessary precautions. It's very simple. Wear a mask, maintain physical distance, wash your hands, or use hand sanitizer when you cannot wash hands. You do not need a sensational message to teach you sense, nor do you need a nanny to watch over you. You're a responsible person.